anything, I'm thinking, if it's just for height.
Okay, we are getting started. As you can see, I'm sure our setup is a little different, but that's okay because I'll let you in on a little secret. Something we learned today was about pausing and pivoting. So, taught by the amazing.
What I do?
See, you see us? Did you see us pause and pivot?
All right, it's just better. There we go. All right.
That light is a little straight.
But
you guys,
it's all right.
You guys get it.
We're working it out.
All right, can we? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the Impact Podcast on this good. It is August already. I hope you guys' day and summer has been going amazing because as you can see, we're not in our typical space. We are literally at the Women's Getaway. Amazing women.
Amazing you.
The Amazing You Retreat.
The Amazing You Retreat. Yes.
The Amazing You Retreat. And we have special guests tonight.
Yes.
We have special guests. So we have been having conversations and typically on the podcast, we're always having all kinds of conversations where we're speaking about just impact overall, impact in our workspace, in general, right? But I don't believe that we have really incorporated other generations, especially our younger generation. Before we press go live, I was like, wait, what are the generations? So we had to look it up a little bit. It's some gray areas because I was like, wait, am I a millennial? No, I'm right off the cusp. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because cross-generational conversations are extremely important. And I'm going to be honest. There has been times where I would be like, oh my gosh, this younger generation, they cause me stress. They don't listen. Their mouths are smart and all of that. But when we take time to listen and actually have conversations, intentional conversations, and we are listening, then we can learn. So I thought it would be important to take this time to have conversations with another generation. So we have our friends here, Gen Z. Well, first, sorry. I got so excited. So, right, Aaliyah Johnson Roberts here, and we have also, as usual,
hey y'all.
And then I'll let our guests introduce themselves as well.
Isis, pull forward. I'm thinking because I want you to see your face. Come in more, Nafisa. So maybe it's that a little. It's something about that light.
Yeah, that light. We're having a hard time with the light.
But all right, go ahead.
Hey y'all. So my name is Isis.
Hi, I'm Nafisa.
Hi, I'm Tyra. Content.
Okay, it's all right. We gonna make it. But you know what? Let's see. Let's come around this way. Let's see. Oh yeah,
that's better.
Come on. See? Pivot. This is what the pivot look like. Oh yeah, this is a lot better.
There we go.
Look at that. Look at that. Come on.
Hold on. Wait. Did you notice the more that you pivot, it gets better?
Yeah.
Come on. Give me. I'll say it. That's right. Come on in.
Oh,
Come on in.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
We gotta get
Look at
Isis in that.
Look at that.
Teamwork.
Come on. Look at that. Now we're all in here.
Oh,
it's all right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Cool. We're leaning.
We'll lean in when we need to.
All right.
We're good.
All right. So these are our guests. So I had a couple of questions. I'm sure the conversation to pivot as we go along, but I definitely wanted to know because we have our own thoughts, and I know that I do. What would you ladies say the difference between the generations? How do you see you guys' generation different from, say, our generation, millennials and older?
I think it depends on the year sometimes.
Really?
Yes. So I would say we're a part of Gen Z, but from maybe like 2002 and up, the respect level is different from the younger kids.
Yeah, I was say the lack of respect
is totally different.
Yeah.
So you guys are more respectful than the younger generation.
Yes. Even though we are all
We are.
yes.
Yes,
Even though we are Gen Z, like it'd be a lot of times, say like Egypt might say something slick, and I'd be like,
Wait, who you talking to?
Yeah.
Who you talking to?
like that is what I mean. And then
Okay.
even when say you're on the SEPTA bus and it's you see older people, sometimes they won't get up for the older people or cussing around older people. We are Gen Z, but I would say the respect level is different depending on how you were raised, your parents' age, and all that other stuff. So I think it also depends. But respect is definitely different between our generation and a younger generation for sure.
Definitely.
Okay.
And you know, another one I want to bring up is I think it depends also as well. Because I don't want to say the difference between like standing up and fighting for something because plenty of generations did that before us. But compared to like maybe your generation, we might not have heard as many from your generation versus like grandma's generation.
Oh, in regards to standing up
Standing
and
up
advocating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think that is a good point because I think like your mom, my mom, it was a lot of civil rights. It was a lot more fight.
Yes.
It was just a lot more fight. And then I think there was an era where we didn't have to fight.
Yeah.
And because we didn't have to fight, we just was like chilling and allowing things to happen and kind of just enjoying what the perceived peace.
Yes.
That's all it was. It was a perceived peace, but we didn't know that, you know, it was sleeping tigers and lions all around us. And then we had, you know, with the Obama election, I think that really woke things up. That because I think we got real comfortable with Clinton. Like everybody, like we loved Clinton. Clinton was a good president. No, like Clinton was a good president when just thinking about the times and stuff like Clinton, like we wasn't fighting.
Right.
We wasn't fighting with Clinton. And then he, you know, transitioned us into Bahamas, Obama. And then we had the whole Trump.
Yeah.
And then it was just like
Damn,
Trump like just triggered this uproar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so I think for like 8 years, 16 years, we was kind of just like chilling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? And then but when Trump came into office, you saw how people was just sleeping.
Yeah.
It didn't go away. They was just sleeping. It was like, oh, racism is really still here. What happened?
Yeah.
We thought we was over this. And now we're in 2022 and we like, we still dealing with this in 2022? Like, y'all need to get y'all life.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't even think about those two things. I guess a lot of times we talk more about, you know, respect, communication. I definitely see the difference between the generations, not only in the homes, but also in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wanted to ask you guys about that as well, because seeing that difference. So I know, you know, my generation, I feel like in my workplace, I work with a lot more of older generation. So it seems like, you know, we're a lot more alike, but then as we're starting to hire more Gen Z, Gen X, I see the difference between the generations. So ask you guys about that in regards to how you see the workplace and policies and procedure and longevity, right? I feel like growing up, you know, I remember my dad worked at the post office proudly and at some point retired, got the watch, right? You worked for the watch and retirement. Oh, our electric just came back. Why are we doing? Okay, so you didn't share that part. The electric
We
was out.
had no electricity, so we was improvising.
Yeah.
We was improvising.
Yes.
So remember, it's peace in the pivot. It's peace in the pivot.
I wanted to say with like, so what would we say like Miss Linda generation is? Like, what are they?
They
Boomers.
are baby boomers.
Okay, so boomers in like our generation where we're at, I'm not like saying Miss Linda, right? But like they expect like so much from you because they had to do like so much.
Yeah.
But like we're at an age where we're like, well, we don't have why do we have to work so hard and do like so much? We're young, but we want to be strong at your age as well. I get it, like they had to do so much. But I'll be like, okay, I can't do all this.
Yeah.
Like I can't. It's too much. And then another thing is like when older people are talking, they got that tone as if you're a child.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
No matter how old you are.
I don't like that because I'm like, we're at the same job, we're doing the same thing. If I'm not talking to you like that, why are you talking to me like that? Their boundaries.
I was going to say that it sounds like healthy boundaries. It sounds like
Yeah.
healthy boundaries, which is a real thing. And what's really great about this conversation is that I know a lot of us, probably 40 on up, if not 45 on up, because we were raised with such a respect, like built into us, like respect your elders, yes ma'am, no sir, that type of thing. So when we're interacting in the workplace and that's missing, we looking at y'all like these young people so disrespectful. But to your point, like it's not that y'all disrespectful, you don't have a point of reference because we failed to raise you like that. It's our fault.
I agree.
It's our fault. We did it.
I agree. And it's interesting you bring up the word boundary because I don't remember us ever using that.
What?
It was
There was no boundaries.
and
You gotta
the
do
boundary was an adult is speaking, be quiet.
Yeah.
Period.
The boundary was adults are at the table, go sit at the kids' table. The
Right.
boundary was if you are not an elder, there were no boundaries. So now
Kids
that we're
are
learning,
seen, not heard.
Exactly. So at some point, and I think we had that conversation to stay in the child's place, whatever that. Right, and the child didn't necessarily have an age, right? You could be 40.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
Stay in the child's place. It's like, oh, okay, right. But now, I feel like that word boundary is being used a lot more, and we're, including myself, is having to learn what that looks like. Even as a parent, it's like, conversations that we've had is like, oh, there are, right? At some point, you're like, you do have to respect, yes, that's my child, but they deserve respect as well, right? It's give and take. At some point, they be like, oh, whoa, right? But we also have to define that boundary in relationships.
Communication.
Because that boundary for me may be different for you.
Exactly.
So,
And I think the boundary, process and pivot.
y'all missed the retreat. That's all.
But I think the boundary really does help as well because if not, then that's where the mental health issues come in.
Yes.
With our communities too. Like it's like, well, dang, my parent ain't care about how I felt.
Yeah.
So it's like now everybody else gonna do it to me.
Yeah.
So that's where the mental health thing come in, and that's another thing I would like to bring up when it comes to workplace. When it comes to our mental health, we gonna leave the longevity that we were talking about.
Can you add Zakira? I'm so sorry. I get.
Hey, beautiful.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm so sorry. I just saw it in the room. We had to let you in. I'm sorry. Hi,
No, it's okay. It's okay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Speaking about cross generation in the workplace, and Isis was just speaking about mental health. So we'd love for you to jump in and get warm and jump on when you like. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome.
So, but that's like the thing, like the longevity is not the same because I think it has come to that place where, again, standing up for yourself, advocating for yourself. And it's like, if it's not fitting for me, then.
And then it's like, well, you like trying to like stand up for yourself and then you disrespecting me.
Yeah.
And I think it's
I can't say what I want to say.
And that's another thing.
I think it's a problem with like the old way and the new way.
Yeah.
We have discovered a lot of stuff online that assists you to do a lot in half the time, and everyone's like, "This has worked for 30,000 years. Why are you changing it?" They're like, Because
But
I
times
believe,
has changed.
yeah, like that's
Times
the
has
division.
changed.
And then when you touch someone that's been in a place for over 10 years, to tell them like, hey, it's way easier, way faster. Why are you doing this? They take it as disrespect. They're like, I've been here, I've been doing this. So
Yeah.
the case, there's a lot of headbutting, especially when they look at your age and they're like, I was doing this since before you were in diapers. Like it kind of makes a big problem to defend yourself.
It make you so uncomfortable.
Yeah. You can't even stand up for yourself. Be like, okay, I'm gonna just let it go because you're an adult.
I'm trying to show you this way. I'm trying to help you so that we can get it done faster and easier. But you
They
want to
don't
go
see
that
that.
long
Yeah.
route.
So that
see
goes back.
Yeah.
That goes back to what we were talking about earlier today when I was talking about, being able to move with ease and accept that it's not going to go maybe the way that you want to, and embracing this new direction. So what I hear you guys saying is like, we as the older people and even people older than us, and it goes back to change too, right? Because we have a hard time, some of us, with like, but I've been doing like, and so it's all we know, right? So it's like, again, coming back to conversations we even had with Ms. Linda about like, if I'm not doing this, what am I going to do? So then my doing is connected to my value system or how I value myself or how I see myself, because this is all I know. So now I feel like, well, I don't have nothing to contribute.
Yes. And it's so interesting you bring that up too, because some of that isn't even intentionally to cause you any harm. It's kind of like, but wait a minute, here comes this young person coming in doing what it took me 10 years to do, and you're doing it in 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, now I have to prove myself because you're trying to take my job.
That negative self-talk.
It is like,
right?
I'm not trying to replace you. Together we're stronger.
Right. And so what happens is you suffer in silence with this internal conversation, and now every little thing is a trigger, and nobody is even doing anything to you.
It's nothing personal, and it really, and sometimes that's why I say to grandma, like, look, sometimes it really can help you if you embrace it a little bit. Sometimes the new technology really is a help. So like, if you think about it that way, instead of putting the negative spin on it, maybe it might have took 10 years, but we in a different time now.
Yeah,
So that's just what it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. So.
Zakia, jump in. What you thinking?
I was getting ready to say, like, actually at work, I'm dealing with the same thing. Like, I have a teacher who is a seasoned staff. And can you hear me?
We're going to try to turn it up some. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm dealing with the same thing at work now. And a staff member actually said to me, like, if I don't do it this way, I feel like I'm useless. Like, I feel like I can't contribute, just as you guys were talking about. And it's like, it's not that you can't contribute. We're just trying to show you a different way. However, she's just not, you know how they say, like, older people are stuck in their ways. It's kind of hard to get them to pivot. And so she's just on the thing where I just go somewhere else. And I'm trying my hardest because she's great. Like, I love her. But at the same time, it's like, I can't make you, want to stay, but you do kind of have to conform to how we're doing things now. And I feel for her because I don't want you to feel like you're useless. You are very useful. You are a pillar of knowledge. But at the same time, it's like, we got a lot of stuff to do. And if we can cut some of it in half, then we need to cut some of it in half,
So what I hear is, this is an opportunity for us to work differently, where we can say to the older person, like, I need you as much as you need me. So show me how you've been doing it and allow me to show you a quicker, faster way. Right. Together. And then, let's work together, because some of that resistance is, I'm being left behind. Right. I'm being behind, and then these young people going to take my job, and Social Security ain't enough. That right? So they're going all the way in, and we ain't even, as a young person, we ain't even on that, but they're on. How I'm going to pay my bill, retirement, Social Security, Medicare, because that's real for them. So I think, to the point that you was just making, Ice, is like, if we neglect to consider what their needs are, then we could just be operating from a place of ignorance, right? And not knowing, like, they're insecure because of things that got nothing to do with us, but it's causing them to show up in a way that's not productive.
Absolutely.
Right.
And interesting. We've been having conversations about, professional development and the need for a shift from the old way of doing it. And I think conversations such as this are the type of professional development and things that need to happen even in the workplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Sometimes we don't get to have conversations with one another. It's always come in, you got to work, the kids are here, right? That's it. We have a training in 2 hours, come in, go. We don't have time carved out for us to really have these conversations. And I'm literally thinking, as we're talking, things like podcasts are educational, right? It might seem like entertainment, if you will, but you learn from conversations that are being had, and it can open up your mind. So I know a couple of years ago, a board that I'm on had a training. It was a full-day training around generation, and they compared each. It was kind of like a chart, and it kind of compared each of them so that you could kind of see, well, this is what they do. This is what just so you had a reference point. And it makes me think, if we were able to do that and then at the end say, okay, well, here's our organizational goals. This is where we're trying to go. How can we get there together?
Yeah.
So if you said, well, maybe we could do this, and you said, and I said, and we all we all had a hand in it. Oh, okay, this is how we can do it. I don't feel left out. You don't feel left out. The goal is being met. We're all needed. Right. So if we don't have those conversations, though, then we are left to fight one another because now you're trying, but that's not it, right?
But sometimes it also depends on the boss in the workplace too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because everybody isn't y'all, right?
Right, yeah.
Y'all actually care about and know that the older generation really does bring a lot to the table. But some corporations like, look, the most efficient way is this way. I can't do nothing for you. So that's why sometimes they are clicking to that. Dang, I might get fired because they found the better way.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the workplace, the person, and everything like that.
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, the biggest shift, because there's been a shift specifically in early child education. The biggest shift was when they started requiring that everybody has a CDA, right? That was the biggest shift. So then what happened is, all of the owners and directors was forced to make some shifts as it around all of the older senior people who are really great caregivers, but like, I'm too old. I'm too old to go back to school. So it's like, okay. And it's not like they're too old to go back to school. That's the surface. The root is, I ain't got time for somebody trying to tell me, and these kids and getting on this computer and right. So in their mind, they're thinking about all the things that the energy that it's going to take to do this. And then what if they have anxiety around test taking? Well, y'all got anxiety around test taking too,
because we've been put in that box. You got to get this high number in order to succeed and do this and do that.
And it's different from their times again.
It makes you not want to do anything.
Yeah. So Zacchaeus, speak to, and I'm putting you on the spot, but I think this is a good place to put you on the spot. You and I and Sam was just having a conversation on Tuesday, right, about being a perfectionist, right? And not that anybody told you that you had to be perfect, but the feeling as a leader and as a young person that you need to be perfect. Can you speak to that?
So yeah, it is a little bit, you do get a little bit anxiety if it's like, not 100%. And it's funny because I tell like my staff, I tell my students and things like that, like, we work in a field that's not 100% perfect. However, I know for myself, I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that everything is right, just so that they can feel less anxious, if that makes any sense. Because I feel like if I don't do 100%, if I don't complete it 100%, I can't give them the tools that they need to be 100%. So I think that also causes like a stigma. Like somebody said to me today, like, you were here at 7:00 and you're leaving at 6. I don't work hard enough. So I'm like, no. I'm just doing this because I have stuff to do. I don't want you to feel like, you have to do all this extra stuff. I'm doing this so that, you guys are prepared for what you need to do on a daily basis. And I am working a little handicap right now, but that's why I'm working so, so hard. But I know for me, I do get a little anxious when it comes down to having stuff done. Like, oh my God, I gotta have this, and they need this, they need this, they need this. And I think that sets the example for perfection overall. And I'm not going to say it's not necessary, but I don't want them to feel like I have to do this all the time.
Wow.
Yes.
Where did that perfectionism, just the thought of it has to be perfect, does that come from somewhere, or is that just you? And I only say that because I have this. Right, it's like, oh no, it has to be perfect. And it's interesting because I'm in a space where I'm just wanting to look deeper. Is there anything behind that? It's because nobody put that pressure on you. But when I started hearing my 7-year-old, like, everything has to be perfect. No, I'm talking about, mommy, is this cute? Is this perfect? It's not perfect. Or the drawing is not perfect, and like crying because it's not perfect. So, because we're talking about different generations, I just kind of wanted to, ask you guys.
Well, for me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Well, for me, I know for sure that it comes from the women in my family. The women in my family are very strong-willed. They are very, very strong-minded, and everything has to be done. And they did everything so effortlessly, without it.
That's the perception. That's the perception. I said the perception, right? And that's where we felt y'all. Like, that's where we felt y'all, because we didn't take time to talk you through the struggle. We just did. And so because we did, it made it seem like it was so effortless and we had it all. There was no struggle. So y'all thinking that, man, they doing a thing. Listen, we stressed out. We stressed out.
And I make a conscious effort with that now, because I do have my 12-year-old niece here who's watching me, right? I have her every day. She's watching me. I don't want her to ever feel like, no, you don't need to be up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning typing a paper and then have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work. Like, I stress that to her, like, that's not how you should be. I kind of let her, make mistakes, and if it's not perfect, it's fine. It is perfect exactly how it is, right? It doesn't have to be like what the 100%, a 90 is fine, an 80 is fine, things like that. I'm attempting to break the cycle. However, I haven't broken it with myself yet because I still strive for that form of like perfection. Like, oh, every week my house has to be clean, and I got to do all the laundry, and I got to make sure I cook dinner every night, and I still got to make sure I give 100% at work. I still go through that, struggle with that, but I do not want her to struggle with that at all.
So let me ask all of you this, right? Who would you be? Who could you be if you didn't harass yourself?
More laid back.
Unstoppable.
Right, I probably wouldn't be so uptight.
Girl.
Yeah.
Yes. She said unstoppable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because most of our doubt comes from ourselves. And the doubt comes from, I feel like, historical traumas that's been put on our families. If your mom was not able to go do something, she tells you can't do it, even though it's a deep passion for you. Or if your cousin was like, oh, I'm into that, and you're like, okay, so am I. I feel like the vision comes deeper than just being like, I'm gonna just do it because I like it, and then I might be good, and I think it comes from like a lot of not feeling good enough. Like, there's a lot of people around you saying you can do it, and there's a lot of people saying you ain't gonna do that.
You want to be fairness.
Yeah. So you're listening. I feel like it's all the voices there.
All the voices. It's definitely all the voices. Yeah.
So one thing I definitely always want to know, because our generation, it was cell phone, pagers. That was it, right? We went outside, we played. That was social. You guys have a heavy presence of social media. How do you think that impacts how social you are? or how do you think social media impacts your life in general? Is it a handicap, or does it work for the better?
It depends on you.
Huh?
Again,
Social media have you thinking that you have to live in this world.
but it depends on you again. Because remember how we was having that conversation. If you let it be like that, it's gonna be like that. If you follow the right people, you might have a different space. But also, like I actually had a question like this in one of my psychology classes. It was like, is social media good or bad? And I was like, it depends, because for some people they really can't go out and talk to people. That anxiety, they really can. So for them, that's actually something that might actually help them. But in a sense, I do kind of wish we didn't have social media and
Yeah,
stuff.
it
Like
keeps you so close down.
it do.
I feel like if we had less of it,
Yes.
it's so easy for a 12-year-old kid in Michigan to make an app or a site and billions of people to decide they're going to hop onto it. I feel like it's more social media more is supposed to be assistance, and everyone uses it as a clutch to make it seem like their life is more
Than what it is.
Yeah. Like I remember I started my Instagram over like a year ago, and they have all this, the suggestions of like, oh, if you want to start people you know, and it's just a bunch of celebrities, and I'm like, they have nothing in common with my life. They're riding in cars and jets that I have no idea where I can even buy it at. But you go see that, and then you're thinking, oh, I'm not doing enough. Or I'm not even nowhere near to these people. I'm not successful myself. Not realizing you're nowhere where you were a year ago.
Yeah.
Come on, girl, with the taking the time to pause to appreciate your baby steps.
Come on.
Right? Because we don't. I love that because we
Where am I journal?
right? Yeah.
I will send in my journal this morning. I'll send like that.
We don't do enough of, which is why when I talk to you, Leah, and all of my clients, I'm like, let's start with celebrations.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And look at how hard, right? And Zakia know it too. Every time I talk to Zakia, the Marison, I'm like, okay, let's start with celebrations. Why? Because culturally, we don't celebrate ourselves. We don't celebrate the small wins. And it's like, how can we break this self-sabotaging, you know what I mean, where we just constantly running, and we proud.
Yes.
Chest out, oh yeah, I done killed the cow today. I fed my family. Okay, but can you celebrate when you rested?
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Can you celebrate when you pause?
It's guilt.
Can you celebrate when you got a good night's sleep?
I agree. Somebody said it's guilt. It feels like guilt when you celebrate, like when you yeah.
Or it's I could have done that better.
Right. I struggle with that all the time.
Yes, and you just mentioned like baby steps. It's like, I thought about this not too long ago. That baby take one step, we are celebrating.
Girl, we like, yeah, let's go. And even when a baby falls, we like, you can do it. Just get back up. Let's go. But not with ourselves.
We take a baby step, and it's like, oh my, I should have been here. I should have been there.
And it's like, the voice of my mom, dum.
Absolutely.
And to your point too, because you mentioned your 12-year-old niece, it's like, but they are watching, right? So they're not only watching the successes though, they're watching us have anxiety, and they're watching us overwork ourselves, and they're watching. Right, sometimes I'm at work. Why am I there all these hours? Like, why am I still there?
Right.
And I'm like, I've really been sitting here for like an hour. It's not even productive anymore. Go. So my husband will call me, or he'll send me a picture, him and the girls at the playground, and I'm sitting there like, right? But the backwards thinking is me. I need to be at work because I have all this stuff to do, instead of enjoying the moment and the memories with my children and family that are timeless, right? So what am I telling them, right? So when I used to tell this story all the time, like you would be like in dramatic play, you had all these bags walking around. I gotta go to work, and I was like, oh, that's me. that's always rushing to work. And it's like, so you're really thinking about what we're showing our children. And for all of us in childcare, we know dramatic play tells us everything that happens in their house. You're like, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
It really is a reflection of you. And maybe sometimes we need to take a look at that and really see how they see us. Because at some point I really had to think about it. My kids could care less about no PhD.
Right.
They don't care nothing about that degree I'm talking about. I'm going to get.
That was the best advice I ever gave you.
Listen, I was like,
so
this
proud
is
of her.
dumb.
I was so proud.
I was like, but we processed it, right? And I was just like, and it was just like a conversation. I was like, why are you doing it? Who told you that you need to do it? Why do you feel like
Right.
so?
It's booming already. You ain't even.
And but it's like, but at that, I needed that
Yes.
pivot to show me though that wasn't it.
And it's in the first week when you after you dropped the class and you was able to go on the
I
walk,
was so excited.
you was so happy about
I was
going
on
on that
one
walk.
pushing the babies like we walking. I was just as happy, right? And then you know my classmates and stuff. You coming back next to me? I don't for what? For what?
Yeah.
But that was me. Not that I was even forcing myself, right? I had this perception that like I needed, because I had a vision to take my program to K through 3. It was like I got to do this. I got to get this PhD. But even in our industry, it's not like the payoff was going to be there.
Right.
It really was like, you
Right.
know, I'm
Right.
learning in spaces like this. Like, you know, you can create your learning environments, and it does not have to be a PhD. So, friends, I'm not taking my PhD. I'm actually in my PhD.
Come on. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we've been okay. All right, we've been processing for some time. Let me see a wrap up question.
Wait, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the baby steps, right? Obi, I'm looking back at my manifestation journal, right? March of what? 2021, or was it this year?
No, it was last year.
I had written down start my first business. The daycare is full. What was it?
Because she had some manifestations for me too. I was like,
Of course, get her first house.
Come on.
I took a picture. I said, "Yo," and we be acting like we ain't do nothing.
Yep.
We what did we did 3 times the amount.
A revenue.
Yep.
Bring that up. We did 3 times than we expected to do this year.
Yes,
During
the
our
goal.
annual review.
Yes, during COVID. So we had we 3x the revenue goal, and it was like a lot of the reflections that we had about what we would do over the year, like was blown out of the water.
Oh.
It was like, and we didn't even know it. I think too, because I think we really were enjoying the moment. We weren't stressing ourselves out. I don't know about you guys in your schools, but I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to stress ourselves out to do that just to check off that box that we did it. I'm going to put mental health. Dr. Obiama comes in. We added mental health in our budget because I need to make sure my people are okay. We're having conversations. Right. We did PD our way. We were compliant, but we did PD our way. And by doing those things, we surpassed our goals. Like
the 2025 goals.
Yeah, we are like, yeah.
And so, but
I know that's right.
I want to speak to the pivot was not focusing on meeting the requirements from the perspective of if I don't get this done, I'm gonna get shut down. But really, like, we're going to focus on our core values.
Yes.
We're going to strengthen our team.
Yes.
We're going to make sure that they're mentally strong and that they have the capacity to show up for these kids every day. And then y'all was like, okay, what does that look like? Which is where, you know, you looked at, and I remember the conversation where you was like, okay, we're getting help from here, but this is what's missing, and this is where I need you at.
Those
You know-
those bullies. Hi guys. Hi Gen Z.
Hey, come on, Damaris, jump on there. What you want to talk about? What you want to talk about?
I just want to say I'm listening. And last year I said I'm not doing it. Just like Aaliyah said, I'm not doing it. And of course, the little threats. Well, this is going to happen when you take those slots back. Then I dare you. Take them back and put them wherever you want to go. But what I'm not going to do is kill myself, because at the end of the day, it's not going to work, and I'm not going to put the staff through it. So I went through a lot of staff, and Zykia said, and I said, do the best that you can. That's all I ask. If we didn't meet this, then we didn't meet this. Let's just make sure these babies are safe, they loved, they're taken care of, and everything else will just work out. And even now that we're preparing for the school year and for the new year, I'm like, we're just going to do the best that we can. That's it. That's it.
And I have to say, I think some of that is from some of the fearlessness of you guys' generation. We were talking about it earlier at the table, and we, listening to you guys amongst us, I was about to say the past few days, it's been 24 hours.
I know, right?
One day, not even, but it really is this, this fearlessness that you guys have that at some point, I know me personally have come to respect. Again, at first it was like this generation, like they don't listen. It was all of those negative things. But again, the more they are a part of the conversation and brought into the room, not adults are talking, go outside of the room. If they are invited into the room, now they have the opportunity to learn, to be more resilient, be a part of the conversation,
and bring clarity. Bring clarity, because there's a perception that we have that's not true.
It's not true.
There's a narrative that we create that's not true. So we're having them in a room. They like, we ain't even on that. Like, what y'all talking about? So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then even again, and Damaris, this is something that you and I talked about with the whole leadership retreat, getting away and seeing the investment, because it is investments. So why, even that, just changing the mindset of doing PD the traditional way. Invest in put it in the budget.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Put it in the budget. Take your people away, invest in their mental health. I've been saying it all along, because when you have people that feel like they have a safe space, or there's a community where they can talk about what they need to talk about. And Damaris, you and I was talking about this morning about how the staff member was just like, I just lost a family member. That's why I'm showing up like this. But if you didn't take time to check in and make sure she was good, it was a narrative that like she's XYZ.
Right.
When that ain't even the case. The case is she done had this loss, and it's impacting her. And nobody is giving her grace and ease or allowing her to pause, and she got these bills to pay. Like, she's grieving. Like, when did we get so caught up in chasing this coin that we forget to check in on people?
And I know for us, right, Damaris, right, we have to add into our budget, because like having Head Start and things like that, we provide these comprehensive services to children and families, right? Why are we never talking about our staff?
About the staff. Leadership. I was just in a meeting this morning. In a meeting this morning, and we were talking about that. They were talking about, professional development for teachers and assistant mental health. And I stopped and I said, how about your leadership team, guys? You don't have a turnover in leadership? Like, your directors are not leaving, they're not burned out? Because I know every day I'm telling my directors, and Zykia, please tell them if I'm lying. I'm like, hey, what time is it? 6, go home.
Yes.
Turn down, turn it off. I have to literally tell my directors at all times, that's it, that's enough. I mean, I was just with Zykia maybe about 2 hours ago, and I said, what time is this? She said 5. I said, we're done. We don't close at 6. No, we're done.
Zykia, this isn't work, Zykia. You're not at work. We're just having a conversation. I was about to feel bad, like, Zykia.
No, but she's right, and then that's where that guilt of like perfection is. Like even today, everybody was done at the center at 5:30. I should have walked out the door at 5:30. However, she called Damaris. What time did you call me? At like 5:40, and she was like,
No,
where are
it
you?" I
was
was like, "I'm still at the
6:20.
center."
And it
It was
was.
6:20,
guys.
right?
It was 6:20.
And I was still at the center finishing something up. And she's like, "Why are you there?" I'm like, "Because I have to finish." In reality, it could have waited till tomorrow morning. It didn't have
wasn't going
to
to
be finished tonight, but it wasn't. It
I'm
wasn't.
teaching myself to say,
Listen,
like,
Yes.
it's not going
I go to sleep
anywhere.
now. I just go to sleep.
Listen,
I go to sleep. I just
that's
laptop on my bed, on my lap, next to me. The laptop got its own pillow now. I just go to sleep. Like,
But here's the thing, taking that moment to talk, to your people and be like, you just don't look right. You look tired, go home. Or, let's take a walk, around the corner. Doing little things like that is really showing teams that you're really invested in them, right? That particular staff member that, was going through something, as she was being reprimanded, my response was, your hair looks beautiful. Right? That was my response, because I didn't want to come to her with another negative, like, why you did that. No. Wow, your hair looks amazing, girl. That was my response. And that's when she opened up and said, she smiled,
Right. She
breathed a little bit. And then that's when she said, a family member, my apologies, a family member just passed away. Yes, it was killed yesterday. So kind of like really looking for those things is really important, right? It's important as an owner, because I could just check out and be like, bye, deuces, I gotta go, right? But you have to do the check. I probably do too much check-ins. Sometimes I'm pretty sure my admin's like, stop. Stop.
It's important, and I love the fact you like giving them tools too, right? I'm sure we can. I don't know about how many days you take off, but even needing a moment, if I closed my office door and took a moment or did something to help me kind of relieve stress or something like that, they need those tools as well. And we had a professional development day the other day, and we spoke about in those moments where something shows up and you have negative emotions, whether it's overwhelm, stress, or whatever, you need to do something to relieve it. And it has to be active. You have to do something. So everybody had to kind of choose their thing. And some people were like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to journal, or I'm going to like put the music on. And so we need to also be able to give our staff those opportunities, especially working with children all day. That hour lunch break, right? Sometimes you need moments. The kids need moments, right? They need moments themselves. And they're like, I'm going to the cozy corner.
The flow.
Yeah. How can you get back to, kind of being your best if you don't have that, that moment? And they're human as well, right? So we're gonna. So
a sensory treasure box for adults. That's what we need.
Ooh.
You know how we have one for children, and we have like these sensory or treasure boxes for children, right? We definitely need one for adults.
Also, I would say a meditation room. One of the things, so like 20 years ago, well, longer than that, actually, because I was like 19, 20 years old, I worked for the Sisters of Mercy, I think this was called. And what I absolutely love is that they had a prayer room, and regardless of what your faith was or your religious belief, this prayer room was open to everybody. And so you would see different people on their lunch, whether they were, praying, taking their, I don't want to get it wrong, but they had their carpet, their little thing, they mat, they were going and praying like one person after another. And then sometimes we would just be in there together, but like it was such a sacred space, and so I thought that was just amazing to have a prayer room. You know what I mean? That was open to everybody, regardless of what your belief system was, to just take that moment, So you could.
I think the United States is the only country where the staff are not really valued. right? If you go to other countries, they have siestas. They shut down so their staff can have that mental break for 2 hours. Go take a nap, go home, go cook. If you're, imagine being a mom, right? What many of us are with children, having to work and having 2 hours in the middle of a workday to go home and take care of things.
Yeah.
My gosh, I'm gonna come back and be more productive, right?
That's right.
And we're missing that here. Obviously, we can't shut down childcare for 2 hours, but providing that space, I would love to create a siesta room, right?
Yeah,
For
so
their
the thing
breaks,
is,
right?
in America,
Do it.
if we just did it as a culture,
Right.
if everyone was doing it, because I believe those countries, everyone does it, so everyone could do it, right?
Yeah.
Who said we had to have an 8-hour workday?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Right.
If parents got off after 5 hours, then we got off after 5 hours. Like, right?
And it really is just planning though, right? Because Damaris, the reality is you really can do whatever you want to do.
Oh,
like just think about it from a planning perspective. If you want to close every Friday at 3:00, parents are going to adjust, period, regardless of what the funding stream is, because it's more tied to I'm rocking with y'all rock with me. Y'all dependable. You take care of my child loves it here. So whatever.
Right.
We adjusted our calendar this year. The feedback that we had gotten is we're always on our professional development on holidays, where they never really get a day off because it's like, we're closed, but no, we have a training that day. So we're closing half days every month for them to do it during our regular. Look at this one.
Gratitude, right?
Thank God, because those times when we're closed, like literally, whether it's what's the holidays like President's Day, when we're closed those days, they really have time off. We used to be open, so this year our calendar is totally different, and it's like. Because if we hadn't though, like they will be burnt out and now they're gone. Like so why not be proactive and change it so that it's beneficial for everyone? And like you said, everyone will figure it out and they'll be okay.
And so we're going to close with this final thought. We need to be the change that we seek.
Absolutely.
Can we ask them one more question before we close out? Because I definitely want to know. So what could we do better as a generation? What could we do better to support you guys?
Yeah.
Yes,
that's great.
I think the conversation we had earlier with being more open.
They're real conversations.
Yes, because I feel
Don't
like
sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I agree.
Tell me
had
what
a lot
it
of
is.
conversations about things that I didn't understand. It gave me a better understanding. Just like how you and your mom were talking about earlier, having those uncomfortable conversations, even if you don't feel that we're ready for it. Sometimes you just need to hear it, and it makes sense for a lot of things. So I think being more open
and not assuming that you can't handle it.
being
Right.
more open.
And that was really good. You know, that my mom was like, you know, I wanted her to come to me, but what if I don't know what to say?
Right.
Like, you waiting for me, I don't know what to say. I just know that I don't like the way I feel.
Right.
And I don't like
Right.
this relationship that we have. So that was good. That was really good. That was really good. Because I didn't know she was waiting for me to come. She
was waiting for you. You was waiting for her, and it's like we just waiting. Really waiting.
The respect is different. It happens every generation though. Like your parents most likely was like, turn that off. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like if we want to be, like she said, the change you want to see, it has to start with you guys. Because how you guys raise us and how you guys talk to us is exactly how we're going to talk to our children and how we're going to move with the people in the world. And if you guys us in an understanding way, like, okay, you're not a full adult like I am, but you are an adult. You can have mature conversations. You do understand. You do have your own plans. And like you said, you never know. We might want to have the conversation, but like, we don't know if you're even comfortable with it. Like a kid going to their mom and be like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. And the mom is totally shut down. It kind of makes you shut down for everything else.
It's hard.
Right.
Kid, you want to add to that? What do you need?
Huh? Say that again. I'm sorry.
What do you need? What do you need?
I can't remember which one. I can't remember which one of you guys said it, but it was having an open conversation where, you know, you listen to the younger person and younger person listens to you to kind of provide clarity. I think that conversation is something that definitely needs to happen just to prevent the insecurities on both sides, like where at least everybody is being heard. And then respecting it. I think that's the most important part, is respecting where the other person is coming from. You may not agree with the person or may not fully understand, but respecting that person's perspective, I think that's at least where the foundation can begin.
Yes. Good.
Yes.
Good.
It sounds
So
like
what I'm hearing is be open to have a real conversations and be open to change and
Yeah.
stay in your lane. It's am I hearing that right? Stay in your lane when it needs to be, stay in your lane. All right.
Yeah, that's a great summary.
Love it.
Oh, you guys want to come back?
So this has been the impact for the listening audience. Real conversations, real people. We are on here the first and third Thursday of every month at 7:00. Stay tuned. Follow us on all things social media. More to come, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Oh, thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Last
Before
minute.
y'all get out, I'm taking a picture.
Okay.
Obi, I'm good at stalking. We can talk all day.
Yeah, Miss Obiama is
She
going.
good.